Are now diving into February. It's our adulting virtual happy hour. Again, I'm really mindful of our time together that we are going to close out in an hour. We're going to do introductions. We're going to talk about the evolution of CEO mindset. But if you are watching the recording, feel free to comment. Feel free to make sure that you engage on the video. And then everyone that is in the training tonight, I will stay definitely after and answer any specific questions that come out of the training. Happy to support in that way, even though I know we will do a formal wrap up. And so introductions for tonight are going to be super, super simple. In every adulting happy hour, I want you to be very mindful of who you are, what you do in your business, and what are you most proud of as a CEO. In every adulting happy hour, I always come along and coach and teach around a strategic formula, right? Customized to you. Please do not believe that this has to be cookie cutter. Okay, I've never been in that space or that, that rhetoric to go, I want to give you best practices, and then I want you to apply it to what that looks like in the season of life and business you're in. And then we close out with the greatest takeaways in every adulting happy hour. And then we go, hey, when's the next one? I'll show up, bells on, pens ready, and paper ready. Okay, so let's go ahead and start. We're going to start with Stephanie and then Monica with introductions.
Hello, everyone. I'm so excited to be here. Stephanie Schoolmeister. My business is Rise of the Soulful CEO, and I help soulful CEOs ignite their spark so they can create a life and a business that lights them up, truly create it from their soul. So what I am most proud of is doing exactly what I teach. I have just gotten back from Thailand for 2 weeks on a business trip, but it was business pleasure. And I'm going to be here for 2 weeks. And I'm about ready to go away for 5 weeks. And what I'm most proud of is I've created programs that, one, deliver massive results for my clients, and two, give me this life that I never thought was possible. So I literally have created a life of my dreams that's beyond my dreams, truly. And I have a sustainable, successful business that continues to grow. And I see it even scaling even more. So it's just amazing. I just want to pitch myself that this is happening, and it's like we're going on 8 years. So it's like it's awesome. So I'm super, super proud of that. And it's even
Awesome.
better to know I can deliver that to my clients.
Yep. And I think it's also fruitful for tonight to share how long you have been in business, because again, I think some of us compare apples to like cactuses and we're like, but she does the thing. And we're all like, the grass is greener. And you're like, well, she's actually been coaching for 23 years. And you've been in it for 23 months. So again, apples and cactuses, right? So Stephanie, thank you for sharing the evolution as a CEO. That compounding effect for tonight is part of what I want to normalize and stop doing the looky-loo over the fence and being like, well, one of my competitors, one of my other CEOs, folks that I aspire to do and do that. I'm like, you don't know how long their journey has been though, sweet friend. And you don't know the evolution that they've been on. So I thank you for sharing that tidbit. Make sure we add that in. Monica and then Amanda, please.
Hi guys, Monica Anderson here with Chameleon Digital Marketing, and I'm most of the time a web designer, but I'm also a brand strategist and a marketing strategist. And I think I'm most proud of having return clients because I have created offers that build on top of each other. So people I've seen 5 years ago, 4 years ago, 3 years ago, come back to me and ask for more or something different. So that's what I'm most proud of, I guess. And I've been in business for 8 years, I guess, like Stephanie. Of course, the business has evolved. It's not the same. We started with social media, and I don't talk about social media too much anymore. So,
Love it.
yep,
Love
that's me.
Thank you, Monica, for being on tonight. Thank you. Amanda Bryant, and then Amanda S. We're going to go A to A.
I'm Amanda Bryant. My business is Inspired Itineraries Travel. I am the owner and lead travel agent of Inspired Itineraries. Sorry, my son just walked in. What do you need? Okay, sorry. I digress. So what am I most proud of? I have been a travel agent for 3 years, but I worked in corporate planning events and did a lot of marketing and sponsorship around those events for 20 plus years. And somewhere in the transition, it hit me that I really love to create amazing experiences for people. And when I was able to translate that from my old life to my new life, if you will, my old, corporate life into my new entrepreneurial life, that's when I really flourished. And it's what I'm most proud of. I think we all really want to find what makes us sing and what makes us do what we do and who we are, if you will. And so that's something recently that I've been really embracing, because it's taken me a long time to get there. But I realized that the old part of me is still very much a part of who I am today. And I love that I can tie them together in planning travel for my clients.
Absolutely. And I think, again, the transferable skill set, we all have passed before we were entrepreneurs, right? Don't know what the industry was, don't know what the duration was, don't know what your title was, right? None of those really matter, to be honest with you, as we talk about the CEO evolution. It's what did I learn in those experiences to transfer into owning my own business? Because all of us have never ran the company that we are running for 2025. None of us, because we're still in creation mode. We're still in growth mode. We're still in scaling mode. So I think that's helpful, to Amanda's point, to be able to go, okay, I have transferable skill sets that I may be pulling back from high school years when I was in this role, or when I was in this skill set, or when I troubleshot that. One technique as a CEO that's evolving their mindset, I'm constantly looking back in roles that I succeeded in. I felt like, again, gave me energy. I was of service. And I go, how do I make that more of the scope of my CEO role right now? Because again, sometimes we don't look at the past. We just are constantly like the new thing. And I'm like, if you could nitpick from 16-year-old, those first jobs, right? And then, group projects that maybe were dismal or that were phenomenal. What did you notice about yourself in that? It's a wonderful technique to kind of go, okay, let me pick along Connie's, leadership journey, so that for 2025, for example, I'm picking and choosing some of the skill sets I want to keep bringing into my business. A lot of us don't look back at that. And we go, okay, we just have to start with a clean slate. And I'm like, you're actually starting with the slate pretty much 80% already made. Let's just heighten it and make it, more intentional. Okay. All right. Other Amanda, and then we'll go to Trish, please.
Amanda Spock. I'm a nurse practitioner and owner of Graceful Living Functional Medicine and Nutrition. I help people balance their hormones and improve their gut health by getting to the root cause instead of just band-aiding it with medications. I'm a brand new baby entrepreneur, just officially started my business in January. It's been a journey of walking away from a corporate job at the hospital after almost 20 years. I did that last year, and then started at a clinic working for someone else again. And so I am most proud of proving myself wrong, that I can do this, and continuing to change my mindset. And it's been awesome. I'm alive again because I'm a really creative person, and I didn't realize I lost that for 20 years. So it's been awesome.
Yeah. We all just did the corporate exhale. We're like, yes, we know what that, that just feels like. Amanda, I'm so glad that you're diving in and just diving in consistently. It's so good to see you. Good. Let's go Trish, and then let's go Sarah, please.
Hi, ladies. I am in the Denver area, and my business is all about ease organizing. I help clients and their families with downsizing, decluttering, moving, and online estate sales with local pickup, so the house empties in a day. And my favorite, right sizing folks into their tiny houses when they aspire to that, like I did. My favorite part, what I'm most proud of as a CEO, is that I moved my business from Chicago to Denver 10 years ago and got divorced in the middle of the last 10 years. And I'm just so proud of being able to grow it to a new flourishing business in a new city and hit 6-digit income goals, and just flying through that, and ever hopeful for hitting even higher points in 2025.
Love it. Love it, Trish. So proud of transitioning an entire marketplace is not a small feat. Some do it by choice. Some do it by, okay, that was something that we're going to just make happen and we're going to roll with it. And because life be life in, if you know what I mean. But Trish, that is a huge feather in your cap on that. Huge.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah, I think I wanted to prove to my boys that no matter what happens to you in life, if you want something to happen, one of my biggest things is where there's a will, there's a way. You can do it.
Yep.
And I just
So
want them
good.
to see that.
So good. Awesome. The word can't is not in my vocabulary because of one dance teacher. So yeah, it's like I had to put money in literally be like, too bad. You said you can't do this skill or can't do this move. We don't use that language. And that has stuck with me since I've been 5. So I get it. All right, Sarah and then Samantha.
Hi, thanks for having me. My name is Sarah with Full Circle Wellspring. I just relocated to Colorado Springs like within the last month or two from the Boston area. Grew up in New England, so here now and excited. So my work is I am a trauma healing and lifestyle design coach. I work exclusively with trauma survivors. We are working on self-regulation, expanding their window of capacity or their nervous system regulation, building a toolbox of resources, and helping them to work through all of the trauma, all of the triggers, and then more importantly, rather than to just be able to sit with their triggers, but actually to sit in happiness and joy, which is very, very difficult for trauma survivors. So, yeah, I'm 3.5 years in, and what was the rest of the question? What am I proud of?
Most proud of as a CEO. Yeah.
As a CEO, I'm really glad for my ongoing creativity and my ongoing own trauma healing from the womb and many generations before. So 40 something years in, I'm very grateful and proud of that healing because that has changed my life personally and professionally. I got into this business because I was hungry for information and I found out what it is like to be a trauma healing coach. And I had never even heard of that before. So I've been doing my own work for about a decade. And now, as I expand who I am and what I want to do, who I want to be, I'm moving more into spiritual realms, psychedelic realms, things like that. And that is expanding and growing who I'm going to be as a coach. So I'm in the middle of rebranding my life and rebranding my business over, I'd say the next year or so. I'm not even like in a long-term apartment yet. I'm like dog sitting. I'm at Airbnbs. It's been a big mess, but I'd say 2025, my biggest goals is like just kind of redefining who I am and what my business is. So
Love it. Love it, Sarah. We are so thankful that you're on tonight's call, and I hope that it's fruitful, and I hope that you have some great takeaways and just can sit with the CEO hat. Like, how many times do you go to a networking experience this month, right? We're on day, 17, 18 days into this month. When you showed up to a networking event, and then Samantha's going to go and close us out with this beautiful CEO talk that she will say, did you show up as CEOs in your past networking this month? Or did you show up as, I'm the practitioner, I am the brand strategist, I am the social media rock star, I am the gut, restorer, I am the transformation folks. I'm going to just encourage. And again, it's not like, I don't know how, just like, do I need to wear a power suit or something? Like, what does that mean? Again, let the title drop, let the perceived, CEO be on a pedestal. Do I need to get a corner office, Connie? No. It's an elite entrepreneur mindset to go, I'm always playing both roles. I'm always developing both roles. I'm making sure that I'm sitting at these calls as a CEO, and I'm also making sure that I'm supporting the CEO to go, here's a tidbit, here's a best practice, here's how I support the company's vision. So I just want to elevate that because all of you on tonight's call wouldn't be on tonight's professional development call because it's not just a lower level topic, right? Like CEO mindset's not like, I just was hoping to figure out how to do a Pinterest post. You know what I mean? Like it's not that level. And so I just want to own the rest of tonight's call. Be in CEO receiving, be in CEO language, and that will be something that will refine the rest of tonight's call. Okay. So Samantha, what is your CEO introduction for tonight?
You. I do try very hard to show up. I have a Connie that sits on my shoulder and she reminds me that my CEO needs to show up every now and then. I'm Samantha with More Than Serendipity Visual Marketing, and I make social media easier for those of us that are DIYing it ourselves. Everything from brand photography, so you have high quality images, to really present your brand, and all the way to social media marketing services. But my real baby is my membership community, which is the Plandipity Doers. It makes it easy for you to stay accountable, have content, have easy templates, and get access to training and information without spending hours searching for it. So I love that. The group is growing slowly, but I
Good.
spent the first 3 years of doing this not talking about it. It's kind of hard for it to grow if no one knows it exists. So I spent a lot of time talking about my brand photography because that's where I was comfortable. And yeah, I think I was afraid to put my creativity and my heart out there. So I've definitely gotten a lot better about that. And yeah, I've maintained 23% to 25% growth year over year since I went full time. So very
Awesome.
excited about that. I am $10,000 away in revenue of replacing my hotel income. So I'm definitely doing really, really well. And I said I wasn't going to do it. I refused to do it, but I am looking to hire somebody.
And the CEO just got real excited. Yeah. Okay. Maybe we'll work on that next month. Yeah. Beautiful language. So one feedback point, because again, this is always like we're coaching, we're networking, we're adulting together because we're leveling up the skill set of adulting in your business, right? Like that's really intentional. Why I brand these networking sessions like this is to know I'm 10K off of this goal. I have a retention of, I have a scalable growth, sustainable that's 25, 35%. Please start getting familiar with looking at saying that, familiarizing yourself. I leverage this. Here's my initiatives. Because most of the time when we show up, we just talk about, I have this one event or I have this next opportunity, which isn't a bad thing, but I want you to practice. Are you articulating your vision, which we're going to talk about in tonight's training? Are you articulating your 3 initiatives for this year? Because I, as a follower and I, as just an audience member, no matter what you're doing, it's on a prospect call, it's on a networking experience, you're in an open house environment, I'm always going to gravitate towards a business owner, like really feel this. I'm always going to gravitate towards a business owner that has a stable and hopeful future for their business. I'm always then going to be a better referral partner for them. I'm always going to be able to go, okay, she knows where she's taking the business. It's not on verge of she doesn't quite understand what her programs are. And again, even with Sarah, you articulating, it was beautiful. I'm in transition this month, this year is going to be stabilizing what this looks like with the rebrand. I still have full now credibility, which, Monica brought up the social proof. If you can go, the 7, 8 of us on this call all go, I would put my stamp of approval. That's coming in with the CEO lens. As employees, we're just trying to do the things that CEO is telling us to do. But as we go into the training, again, the next part of every adulting happy hour is about 20 minutes that I'm specifically coaching on a topic. And then we go into greatest takeaways and next steps. Is I really do want you to think about, how do I take this training and use it for the rest of this quarter? Okay, because we've got 5 weeks left. Who's counting? I am. 5 weeks left. You have 111 days to June 7th. FYI, I know that countdown number. So like, just know that use this to go, what would I implement in the next 6 weeks? Because what's real is your brain can't necessarily think about how am I going to implement that in the next 10 months, but it can break down the step of 6 weeks. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to pull up the slide deck here. Give me a thumbs up that you can see this part, and then bingo, bango. And then we are going to dive into the beautiful slideshow. All right. I love it when technology works and it's just rocking it. Everyone can see this part. Let's hunker down on note taking. Again, if you're watching this recording, get super mindful of, we've got 3 outcomes for tonight. So the CEO mindset is an evolution, right? It's thinking more strategically. And sometimes we don't even know what the heck that means. Sometimes it's like, I don't know. I've never taken a CEO class, Connie. I've never taken, maybe I've done some personal development or professional development coursework, but I've never learned how to become a CEO. Here is your micro masterclass in 19 minutes. You ready? Buckle up. So if you have not followed any of my content, again, I always love to share, my background has been 15 years of being a CEO in my own coaching, consulting, adjunct. I always say fractional CEO, fractional strategist. I always say that someone at the gym today asked me, like, what do you do? Like, what do you do? Like, I'm not quite sure what you do. And I go, I own 73 businesses. She's like, what the heck? And I'm like, I do. Like, I do strategy for 73 clients in some capacity of leadership, sales trainings, strategic planning, marketing strategies. And so if any of that resonates with you, and again, any of that content or just excitement around it, follow on Instagram, check out the YouTube channel, which again, this will be recorded for you. And then feel free to friend me on Facebook. Because as we go into this evolution, you've got to cast the vision for all your followers to be like, this is where we're living and breathing. You may have a phenomenal blog. So again, I'm going to take off the trainer hat right now and just speak to everyone on tonight's call. As you build social proof as a CEO, it is my responsibility to share with the followers where to connect with me. Okay, that's outcome number one from tonight's training. You're like, oh, we're already on the tee with that. So when you go to your next networking experience, you got your next call to action. And I want you to give different modalities. So the sweet spot is 3. So I just did it to you all to be like, hey, connect with me on LinkedIn. If that is your primary platform, connect with me and my membership link, right? That's where I build community and about my, free Facebook group. Check out my, fill in the blank. And I'm a rock star TikToker. Follow me there. I cannot emphasize enough. When you're in front of any individuals or any group atmosphere as a CEO, you have to share where to connect with you. Like, think back in the last couple of weeks, every person that you've met with, do they know how to connect with you? Like, do they know, besides just maybe a graphic up here, or you've done an email exchange, or you've done maybe a business card exchange if it, you're doing some face-to-face networking, but even in the virtual capacity, my encouragement is to always make sure that you have your virtual business card ready and alive. Okay. A technical part on this CEO piece is I have a Word document that, depending on the group I'm showing up in, because this is very practical, I have a little different blurb of my, who I am, what my business is. And then I have, again, here's my 30-minute consultation link, or here is my YouTube channel, or here is my, membership link. And then for another CEO group that I would show up in, I've got different connect with me links. House that in one place and always come prepared in that. Okay. So I'm going to stop the training right now because I love this part of like experiential. Before y'all got on the call, I know for 15 minutes, you prepared what your call to action was going to be. Okay. I know you prepared as a CEO at 5:47 as you got your drink to go, here's going to be my 3 ways to connect, or here's going to be my virtual card, whether Connie asked for it or not. I'm also going to do the homework to go, I know I'm going to want to connect with 2 or 3 different women from tonight's networking experience. I already know what the calendar link is going to look like. I already know I'm looking for more strategic partners, or I know I'm looking for more maybe, introductory, clients, or I'm looking for collaborative partners. Unmute yourself and go rogue and go, I get it, Connie. Strategic CEOs come prepared with where they want to take their experience, even though this is Connie Kirch's Adulting Happy Hour. Okay, unmute and talk about what that preparation has looked for you before I get into more of the skill set development, because that is such a real part, as Samantha posts her Instagram.
I have all of this stuff saved in a note and Trello, actually, so I can pull it and post it. And I knew you were going to ask, so I came prepared.
Okay.
Just
Good.
that. And I've been very, very intentional with just speaking about my group and changing up the way I talk about my group at each event I go to. So I always know the intention. And I normally try to tailor it to the audience based on, what I hear or see at the beginning. So it just kind of depends, but I know what I'm talking about. So yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Proactiveness. Good. Monica,
but I didn't prepare ahead. I ate dinner really, really fast.
Fair enough. Monica, your CEO preparation before calls like this.
Um, I'm not as prepared with the spreadsheet, but I usually have, I'm on my phone, and because I talk about my brand archetype adventure program, I usually have the archetype quiz open on my phone. So that's what I'm gonna probably plug in for you guys, because it's something interesting. One of you guys talked about rebranding, and it's just a free, way to get to know me a little bit.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Do you set the intention before you get on these calls? Couple more cross shares. Stephanie.
Hi. So I also have a spreadsheet that I use, but when it's interesting because I haven't gone back and updated it recently. But as you were sharing that, I just had my website redone. So I was like, oh, I get to share my website, which has a lot of like all those pieces to it, which, I love. But I also, when I speak, I'm definitely prepared on what I'm going to offer. And that is a toolkit for people to learn more about the practices that I teach and kind of go through a nurturing campaign. Maximizing your toolkit, maximizing your impact is what I share. So I do think about where I'm at and what would serve that audience the best. But to be honest with this one, I was like, oh, I'll just share my website and another link. Yeah, but
Okay.
normally I do prepare, especially when I'm speaking.
Okay, so remember how we do some things is how we do all things as CEOs. And I always have to keep myself accountable as a CEO to be like, I expect a lot from Connie to show up, serve clients, go network, go retain clients. We all expect a lot from that. I'm going to encourage for tonight's accountability call. Oh, I thought this was called adulting. No, it's called accountability. Okay. If you were, again, working for someone above you, because when you're a CEO, you kind of get away with wiggle room. And it's sometimes not serving us well. So I just want to elevate this excellence, this idea of, okay, as a CEO, remember when you first started your business and you were on fire coming into these meetings and being like, I'm prepared for this. I've done this. I've got, kind of sweaty armpits because I'm so nervous about this. Like, do you remember those moments, right? Maybe for some of us, it's like, it still is that. I want you to sometimes go back to that beginning stage of starting your business and go, you were so intentional with it. You were so mindful of, how you prepared. Don't lose that transferable skill. Every year I act as if I start with a zero book of business, and it's a practice for me as a CEO. I'm paying this forward to you. It's a practice for me to, one, not get bored in my business. We've all been there. Okay. And it's a practice for me to go, okay, if I say that 2025 is going to be my best year in business, what would that look like in terms of how I'm sharing things, how I'm doing things differently, as if this was the only time I could show up? Like, this is all I got, is I get 3 more months to, share this business, and then I'm going to sell it, or I'm going to shift out, or I'm going to succession plan, because that's what a CEO does. We're all leaving legacies. Right? We're all leaving legacies in our businesses. We are time trading away from our family, from other opportunities, from sometimes our own, gifts and talents and hobbies that we want to do. As a CEO, I want you to level up and go, all right, this year you get to leave your legacy. And what if I said New Year's 2025? We're all here. We've got party hats on and 2026 glasses. And I want you to honestly play out the movie and go, did I just do my best year because I don't get 2026 to do my business anymore? I sold my business. It creates a new sense of, I only have 10 months. I only have 6 weeks, Connie, of how I need to be showing up at that level. That's elite entrepreneurship. Okay. So let's keep going down to practical steps, but I wanted to make sure that you got some takeaways as you do the Connect Me piece. So if I serve you well in the last 15 minutes of the training, is that I want you to cultivate a strategic CEO mindset. I really want to talk about the emotional intelligence it takes to be a CEO. Can everyone see the screen? I want to make sure. I just saw messages. Yeah. Okay. And then I want you to really define your personal leadership style as a CEO, because I bet none of us have slowed down to work on our business this way, right? We have just gone and did the thing and showed up. Okay. So welcome to the next 15 minutes. First pillar of evolving your CEO mindset is shifting from an operational to a strategic thinking meeting with yourself. Okay. Operational meetings, time blocks, things like that are the how. How am I going to get that done? How many am I going to get that done? What's the copy look like for that? What's the sales rhetoric going to be for that? That's all operational steps. I want you to spend time in the next 6 weeks and talk about at the strategic 30,000 level, 30,000 foot level, to talk about leveraging. Write that down. Every CEO talks about leveraging our resources, leveraging our initiatives, leveraging our partnerships. If you're not used to that language, maybe that's your, kind of practice zone, if you will. Every CEO at the strategic thinking level always is talking about, how do I have an 80-20 impact, where 20% of what we are putting out in marketplace has an 80% impact? Over and over and over, I'm checking that to not go, I want to do this event and I want to do these type of social media postings and I want to do these type of podcasts. I'm always checking myself as a CEO to go the 80-20 rule. I'm only going to take on resources and commitments that are 20% of what I need to build out or what I'm going to, show up for to have an 80% impact. How do I pick those? How do I choose those? How do I level those up? Okay. Last part is this scalable? I'm always asking, Connie, if you're going to build this out, because a one and done doesn't work, that's operational. Is this scalable? Or am I going to continue to be a slave to the trade? Because now I'm just always having to be so present. I can't 10x something. I can't multiply the efforts. So I'm always saying, okay, if I'm going to build out this intake form, if I'm going to build out this widget, if I'm going to build out this 90-day course, is this scalable? Okay, so that's your first kind of, framework. Second is I'm not talking day to day to myself. I'm making sure that all those, practical steps are happening, outcomes are happening, matrices are being hit, but I'm breaking free to go, maybe this Friday is your CEO day that you can only talk long-term planning. You can only talk about a personal retreat for yourself as the CEO to go, why are we doing these initiatives? So the second outcome is you're not worried about the how when you're a CEO. Now, as the employee, you got a lot to worry about. I'm always like, Connie, be realistic. How are we going to do this? But for this training, I want you to be able to live in the space of, why are we doing this initiative? What's the outcome or the impact we're actually trying to achieve? Don't worry about the how when you're in that space. Let the employee side of you troubleshoot that. Go back to that why, that bullseye point. Okay. And then last but not least is the visioning language into actionable strategies. This is the script I'm going to encourage, but I'm also going to give you, encouragement and latitude and longitude to say, customize this to you. When you are sharing with somebody in a connect, when you are sharing on your next Facebook Live, when you are, I'm making this very practical because I know every single one of you, this is what you do. When you are doing your next wellness workshop, okay? When you are doing your next, social media post, my encouragement is to tweak, to say for 2025, here are our main, 3 main initiatives for this year. I know that we're building X out. I know that we are, launching XYZ, and the campaign we really want to specialize is this. I want you to get really comfortable with saying, for the rest of this year, here is where the company is going. So my challenge is in the next 6 weeks, on your Facebook Live, in your newsletter, when you're reaching out or doing, a connect tomorrow. And someone's like, tell me more about your business. Hear my heart in this, because I have done so many connects. Let me just be honest. I have done so many connects this year that I'm like, yeah, tonight's training is going to be about CEO language. When I say share about your business, all the conversation goes to is, I've got the program, I've got the thing, I'm working on the thing. I don't know what your company is, Sunshine. That wasn't my question. Okay. So it's a gut check for all of us to go, that's probably true. I don't know if I lead the conversation in a connect, to get to know you, hey, I'm, recording this video for XYZ. I don't know if I'm actually explaining what my business is. So be really mindful of, if you want followers, and I don't just mean like social media followers, you have to have hope, you have to have stability, you have to have a comprehensive plan that you can articulate. Even if it's not completely built out, that's okay. But getting more comfortable with sharing that and not being down at the programmatic level. Okay, that is later in your experience. Okay, so good. Let's see what someone just, I want to see the new message on that. Love it. We got another connect on it. Good. Okay, let's go to number 2. As you grow your emotional intelligence as a CEO, here's the 4 pillars that I want you to start just really developing. Your self-awareness as a CEO. If I had you grade yourself and your confidence as a CEO, not fake it till you're making it. Don't believe it. Okay. Really, like, don't think it, ink it kind of moment. Okay. Is where are you at in your self-awareness as a CEO? Do you go, I know how to carry myself. I know how to negotiate as a CEO. I mindfully can, navigate a sticky situation with the client. And the parts of a CEO that, like, it's usually, issues that I have to troubleshoot. Do you just have that self-efficacy built up? If not, let's go to number 2. Is that I want you to have empathy with yourself when you are making brand new decisions you've never made before. Okay. I also want you to get compassion and empathy as the CEO to go, you may not have anyone else in your corner that understands what strategic decisions you have to make. So when you feel stuck in it, I think, or when you get an opportunity and you know it's not the right fit, here's some languaging that you go, as a CEO, I know that's not the right fit for us, but I'm going to say yes to that collaboration. I'm going to say yes to that event. I'm going to say yes to, because I feel like it's an obligation piece. As an emotionally intelligent CEO, here's the language you use. Stephanie, I'm so grateful that you asked me to speak at XYZ. Right now, that is not one of our top 3 initiatives for the company. I will keep someone else top of mind, but I so want to appreciate that you saw that that would be a great partnership, but I know I would not be a good fit because I do not have the bandwidth or capacity to see that through. Now that is CEO language. Okay. Let's use it for a client. Client X is not doing what all the things they need to be doing. Okay. We usually, I don't know, kind of happens to my book of business. Maybe I'm the only one on tonight's call and maybe y'all should be coaching me. But here's a CEO language that after a grace moment and after another grace moment and after a, like, okay, we need to have like a real CEO conversation, having language like this as an emotionally intelligent CEO. Connie, I recognize that you wanted to, you want to build a coaching, a coaching partnership with me. When you continue to not follow through on the deliverables, the timelines, the things we talk about, I'm not able to be of service to you, and my company is not being able to be of service to you. So I want to have a realignment meeting where for 15 minutes, we're going to talk about, is this in the season of readiness? Is this still a fit for you? Or maybe do we need to pause services? That's CEO languaging. Instead of you just pushing through 6 more weeks with that client, making sure that you get the website to launch, Monica, because you're like, I just need them to approve 17 images. Can I get an amen for Samantha? So that is the language I want you to step into, is being so emotionally aware to go conflict resolution and empathy of, like, we have to make a decision. It won't get easier if you ignore it. Okay. And I think a lot of strategy as a CEO is like, how to get the clients, how to make sure that, the branding is done well and the copy is done well and that your services are going to be phenomenal. But sometimes you get stuck when it's a sticky or sandpaper moment. That's what I call those. That's your opportunity to level up and grow up as a CEO. Okay. Last 2 pillars is how to manage your energy and how to manage the relationship the relationship management part of the business, of the company. Is figure out what that cadence starts to look like for you as a CEO. If you burn out after 6 days in a row, you burn out after 2 weeks of back to back, figuring out what that business model looks for you. You can run a business model that's 2 months on, 2 months off, 2 months on, 2 months off. You can run a 6-month business, business model. I run a 8-month business model that I take off an entirety of August and an entirety of a June, that I'm like, I just go underground and I don't want to be running a company. And I'm okay saying that to y'all. But that takes visioning out as a CEO to go like, what does that look like for the next, 2025, 2026, because I've learned how to manage my energy. Okay. So I'm empowering that needs to be a skill set that you go, let me just dream and figure out as a CEO what I want the company to actually have a cadence in. And then you can start, negotiating those relationships and the cadence with meetings. So the last takeaway is, what is your ideal cadence for meetings? As a CEO, I know I want to meet with my strategic partners or with my circle of influence or with my mentors. I know for me, not what they maybe needs are. I know for me, I'm a cadence every 8 weeks. Any more than that, they're not fruitful. They're not as productive. I have too many other deliverables I want to do. So I manage those relationships. Again, I'm not talking about the clients. I'm talking about all the other C-suites that are on your board of directors, that are your cheerleaders, that are your mentors. I know for me, I need that kind of accountability, that encouragement about every 8 weeks. I'm able to go back into marketplace. And then I kind of need that recentering of what I call my front row. If you've ever coached with me, my front row for 8 weeks. And then I kind of, disseminate back out. Figuring out what you need that to look like and how often is a wonderful thing to reflect on from tonight's training. Okay. So let's close out with the last kind of bucket, is figuring out and identifying your top 5 goals for 2025 and what is the matrix of success. Having 3 quantifiable ways. So this is a little bit different than KPIs. This is as a CEO. You know that you have reached XYZ. You know that you have seen type of growth. You know that you have added X amount of people to the newsletter. But I want you to take from tonight's call anything out of 1, 2, and now 3, figuring out, again, not thinking it, inking it out of your head onto paper. I want you for accountability. Send it to me in an email. By the end of February, you have clearly defined the company's goals for 2025 and what are the 3 success factors for each one. And the success factors are the things that you have control over. Okay. Number 2 is making sure that you've done an audit to go, where do my gifts lie, right? We all have basements and we all have balconies. Can I get an amen? Right? Like, I know that I have some skill sets that I'm like, they're not fully developed and they're never going to be really my shining moments. But I also know I have gifts and talents as a CEO that I keep going on the balcony to go, keep building the business model around those strengths. So if you've never taken Strengths Finder, if you've never done, it's different than a value assessment where these are my top 5 strengths. Maybe it is more in relationship building or influencing or strategic, thinking. I want you to do an audit and be like, this is so good. Do you have a job description as a CEO? I do. I know what I have to do in my business to be a CEO. I know what I just signed up for. Didn't happen when I first started my business. Amanda, don't stress out. Okay. But my encouragement is having a concrete creed, an outline, something from tonight's call that you're like, these are the strengths we need as a CEO. And this is how I need you to step up as a CEO. It's a wonderful activity to do. And then last but not least is, have you created your leadership mission statement? Not your impact, not your mission statement as the company, and then your objectives and all the other parts that come, and what we think as strategic planning. As the soft skill set of a leader, because again, leadership is such an esoteric term. As we evolve as CEOs, the way I led my company and the way that my mission statement was 5 years ago is different. The way I serve and the way that I want to be remembered for and be on legacy for and be on mission for. So here's your opportunity. We're not too far into 2025 to come up with a paragraph, a workable, breathable, livable, very intuitive way of you being able to say, I want to be remembered for. I'm always saying, I always want to make sure our leadership style for the company and the way I show up is with excellence, is with enthusiasm, and is always data driven. That is the first sentence of my leadership mission statement is like, if we veer out of that, I'm not being a true leader to my company. Okay. So figuring out what those factors are for you, slow down and start building the self-efficacy on this. Because what typically happens is you just don't feel comfortable with your leadership style because you're like, I don't know. I've never built my own business. And it's kind of chicken or the egg. And I'm like, well, because we haven't done this activity, you don't know how to do that for February or for March. Okay. So these three parts are the most tactical. How do I build up my leadership style, right? A strong leader. If I say, I'm going to invest in, Amanda's business and I'm going to invest in Trisha's business, for Q2, I would honestly ask and be like, hey, what's the job description as the CEO? What's the leadership style that we're going to have to navigate as partners? And what are the top 5 company goals before I become a joint venture? It's a great activity to do because you are investing in your own joint venture. You just maybe didn't know it. Okay. You maybe took out the loan and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm the bank to myself and I never asked for these 3 things. Kind of scary. Okay. So it's a wonderful activity to do if you feel lost in your leadership style. So as we close out, if you're wanting to work with me more in a one-on-one capacity, right? I do a 90-day roadmap. And again, it's a 90-minute session. And I include for tonight's training and just really identifying that this leveraging of strengths piece I'm finding my clients is kind of missing. They're still just kind of stuck in like, I'm working on mode. So if this would be of service to you, I'll put in the comment section. And again, it's on my link tree to schedule a 90-minute session. I give you the Strengths Finder assessment that figures out the top 5 strengths. If you've never done an assessment, I think it's essential as an entrepreneur. And then we would talk about your next 90 days from a marketing and sales CEO lens and from your leadership, because those are the 2 kind of buckets you're always managing is the self part of that, the leadership part of that, and then the strategy part of that. So I want to give you that opportunity if that's going to be of service to you, if the timing is right. I'll put that link in there, or you can go to the link tree, but I'm going to stop the share here. And I want everybody to have 1 minute to share. What was your greatest takeaway as a CEO? What can you commit to putting into action? Okay. And we're going to go through the same framework of introductions. And then again, I will close out the call. We will definitely talk about, staying on the call after if that's of service to you. But if you need to hop off in 10 minutes, I totally get that. So take 15 seconds. I'm going to put in the chat the link tree to make sure that you have the opportunity. If you do want to have a 90-minute roadmap, I'm going to put that in there. But take a little bit of reflection time. So important that you do. And then we're going to start with Stephanie. All right, Stephanie, when you're ready.
I knew I was going first. All right. All right. I'll put this together. First of all, I was just reconfirming when you shared about like your language that you use about it's just not in my capacity right now. That is something I've been using for the past 3 years and it's been like the number one thing. So that was really good to hear. And again, reconfirming, I was literally just working on mission statements with my crew today. So I love that. One thing I want to work on that I haven't done yet, which I think is really good, is developing the CEO. What does that look like? What is the job description of that? I love that. And let me see. Can I ask a question in this, Connie?
Amen.
When you said identify 5 goals, can you give an example of what that matrix of success looks like? Like give an example what goal.
Yep. So real time, my second goal for 2025 as a CEO is to get to 1,000 YouTube subscribers. The 3 success factors is I can't control 1,000 subscribers. So if you all have a quantifiable goal of a dollar amount, AKA, you can't control that. I want X amount of percent. Like those factors are not the success factors. Here's what is within my control. On slide 7 of my proposal I gave to the CEO, Connie, she enjoyed it pretty well. Okay. Is I will commit to the end goal is 1,000 subscribers. I've committed to, I can't make this up, to 60 YouTube uploads of 15-minute content videos. I can control that factor. So that's a success factor. December 31st, have I done a cadence of 60? Okay. I have committed to 30 to the company, 30 posts, which is now called like the community tab, but it's not called that anymore. It's post, where I am putting a get to know you post about our company to share the vision. I have other sales goals in that, but as a company post to make sure that I am constantly sharing the vision, I need to do 30 posts between now and December. I can control that factor. Okay. And then I am sharing to Facebook groups twice a month to 20 groups, the YouTube recordings. I can control that success factor. That's 40 touch points for the employee, Connie, to do.
Perfect. I love it. I love it. And the last thing I will say is the leveraging. I love that because this year, my whole thing is I'm scaling with soul because I will not let that business take away from the lifestyle because I'm like, I developed $1 million lifestyle. Now it's
Amen.
developing the $1 million
Amen.
business. So
Amen.
that's where I'm going. So it was really, it was beautiful. Thank you, Connie.
Yeah.
It was great.
My
Appreciate it.
pleasure. It's so exciting to be in a networking conversation. This is why it's adulting, right? To be CEO language. Cause it's like, okay, I kind of want to talk about it, but I kind of don't know the new language. It's like if we all were learning French, I don't know if y'all know French, we would be like, we're doing the flashcards tonight. And then we can make sentences. But then there's going to be some phrases that just roll off your tongue. I love being able to practice this in a safe community. Like that is my heart behind, the adulting happy hour. So good. Okay, Monica and then Amanda B.
Okay. I also wrote down your language when something's not going well with a coaching client because I do have that situation. Like I have it right now. I'm gonna practice this sentence on somebody very soon. I recognize that you want to build a coaching relationship, but you're not showing up. Do we need to pause? Yeah.
Amen.
Reset. What do we need to do? Okay. I do have to think about how to manage my energy. I think to me, that's one of the trickiest part that I have not been doing a really good job with. And I also need to set, I have new collaborators that want to collaborate with me, and I need to screen them and also set up those ideal meeting timeframes. What's a beneficial time frame to look at them, talk to them, reconnect, plan together with and also with my team. And I don't have a description as a CEO, a job description. So of course, let's get on that. And the leadership mission statement. Yeah, that's gonna be tricky.
Yeah, that's so good. And again, we wonder why we kind of flounder as CEOs. And I'm like, we don't even know what the scope we're expecting ourselves to do. Like, don't expect yourself to know something you don't know what you're, kind of graded against or tested against. And I'm like, you get to create that. I'm not going to give you a right or wrong one. But I do think in the vein of transparency, when I finally got super serious of like, I have taken out my own money, which we all have on tonight's call and recording, to invest in my own company. And I never qualified for a CEO job to write out what the heck I was doing. I just started doing the packages and the things. It was a huge turning point for me to feel more stable as a business owner. Okay. Awesome, Monica. Thank you for those sharing points. Okay, Amanda B and then Amanda S.
So in the end of this, you said recently, you said employee Connie versus CEO Connie. The employee Connie is going to do this to meet this goal. That was huge for me because everything you said leading up to that, I was trying to differentiate the difference between CEO Amanda and travel agent Amanda, because I'm still doing both, but I now have a team that for us. And now I have, like, it's funny because I have a statement of how I want who I'm looking for. It's my ideal client in a client and also in a travel agent that I want a description, right? So just like my wheels are turning. I have to like go write everything down now.
Yep. We all will watch this recording one more time. Welcome to the Connie train. That's just how we roll. Because you're going to retain 17% of tonight. It makes my job really easy. Let me tell you. So Amanda, reinforce with another recording of that and just go, cool. I'm going to listen to it just from the macro planning of what Connie is asking me to do.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Okay. My pleasure. Thank you. All right, Amanda.
So first I have to share like a little real-time story of what happened this week, and it's silly, but normally patients or prospective patients will fill out and schedule like that initial call from my website, right? And they fill out the initial paperwork. Probably that's transferable to other people, but somebody just kind of cold called my number and asked to set up an appointment and like learn more about my services. And I had to like ask my husband, literally, I was like, but do I call her back? I don't have a form. And he's like, well, what do you say about that? And I'm like, I guess it's fine. It's just like, I don't have to ask someone if I can do that. Like, I get to make that decision. So I just, when I'm going back to the mindset of I'm still like slowly building the belief of this is happening. So I'm still in that beginning stages. So I love the don't think it, ink it, because I feel like I have like all this stuff swirling in my head all the time that I need to. I'm like making those small goals, but stepping back and looking, like you said, as the business with that CEO mindset. What does that look? That looks different than X amount of patients. That is my goal per month, right?
Yep. And making sure that I'm being of service on this. I'm like, those are all, again, we're stuck in the day-to-day tactical level, still just as important. But for tonight's training, there has to be time on your calendar. And there has to be like a really, like I always teach this as a 6-foot table where like Connie Kircher, the employee, is sitting on one side, Connie Kircher, the CEO, is sitting on the other side. And I need to make space for Connie Kircher on this side to be able to have time on the calendar to be like, if we don't figure out the macro, the employee Connie is about to leave. Okay. So good. So good, Amanda. And yes, you do get to make the decisions. That's the beautiful part, that it's like, I always say the buck stops at me, and I'm like, okay, so instead of like buckling under the pressure as a CEO, I always say this: when I feel like I have a lot of decisions to make, instead of crumbling in it as a CEO language, you know what I say? I am unbelievably grateful for the amount of leadership that this company has allowed me to steward. I feel so thankful that I have so many fires I need to put out, because I have grown such a big business that is normal in a growing business. Notice that language isn't like, I don't know how to do this. This is a lot. It's not that language. It's, I'm so grateful that I have so many leadership opportunities to grow my business and make things right the way that I wanted to, or the way that it's maybe not going. This gives me an opportunity to practice that skill set. And then I go have the hard conversation with the client. Okay. So good. All right, let's rock and roll. We're going to Trish and then Sarah.
I loved when you said to be specific and give yourself those top 5 goals, because I sometimes get caught in the minutia of how to do the things rather than thinking the big picture. So that was definitely helpful to allow me to do that. Because then once I have that, like kind of like set in stone, then I can back think how I'm going to get there. But the important thing is to have the dream and the vision. So that was really good.
And I have every single morning a slide deck presentation to myself that has all 5 of my goals and my success factors.
Really
I present to myself. It's very motivating. It's my jumpstart meeting with myself, so that it's in front of me. It's alive. It's breathing. It's not something that sits metaphorically on a shelf as a CEO. And then as an employee, I'm also like, Kircher, that is what Kircher expects from you. So like I used to do it in a journal or a sticky note or this. Well, living on a boat full time, you can't really do that. So adaptability has been this year. So I'm like, make a slide deck. So I literally have a professional presentation that I look at. It's shocking. It's 7 slides deep, but it keeps those top of mind and those success factors alive for me. Because that can go everywhere, to Stephanie's to Stephanie's concept of I'm fully nomadic. I go and travel wherever I need to. I can't let that barrier of, not being able to track something tangibly. So I just made it a presentation deck and it can be alive every single day.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it keeps it top of mind.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's go Sarah and then Samantha, please. Oh, wait, unmute, sweet friend. Sorry, you may have pushed it, but I didn't see it go on mute.
Sorry, there we go. My space bar usually works. It didn't work. Yeah, I really appreciate the entire conversation, especially where I'm at right now. This is the ultimate transition of my life. So
Yeah.
in that, I'm very, very overwhelmed, and I have been actively trying to work on the idea of what the mission and the vision really wants to look like so that I can start building goals of what I need to tweak to make things the way that I want them to be for the future, which is always, that's always evolving. It's not static, but I want it to represent me more as a human, as a person, but I'm also figuring out what that is. So I appreciate the very tangible kind of things like setting the goals and setting the success factors. That is really, really important. Getting into networking out here is going to be totally different for me. That
You were
is
in the right
probably,
group, friend.
I
You
think
were in the
between
right
getting back into aerial arts and getting back into networking with other entrepreneurs is like the two ways I'm going to find friends, maybe that and like Tinder. So, that's where I'm at. But this is the a big part. It can be very overwhelming when like too many things are happening. This is the first time I've lived on my own. I had my son when I was a teenager, didn't go to college, didn't do any of that stuff. I just left him for the first time. Don't worry, he's almost 23. I tried to get him to leave. He wouldn't, so I had to leave him. But this idea of like, stepping out on my own and actually reinventing myself whilst reinventing a business is a big deal. So it's a big mindset shift to go from who am I as a coach and then who am I as a CEO. Those are two very, very different things, So
Yes,
yeah,
100%.
it's good delineation.
And the gift to go, I get to start this with, again, quote unquote, the clean slate to go, let me set it as intentional as I can and not reworking it throughout the whole year, right? Make it clear, ink it, and then go into employee mode. Then that makes sense because I can trust the company. I can trust the company. A lot of cognitive dissonance happens because I don't trust sometimes Connie as the CEO. So I avoid, I don't lean into it. That's a real factor of like sometimes when we get stuck.
Yeah. Good point. Yeah.
Thank you, Sarah. So glad you're here and you're in good hands. We will connect you with 7,000 meetings and groups. Be careful what you ask for. Okay. Samantha.
She's not lying. So I've been ridiculously sick. I've not been this sick in a really, really long time. I'm finally coming out of it and feeling better, but I have medicine head. That's my point. I took maybe a little bit too much so that I could stay confident during the meeting. And I'm feeling a little like, what did she just say?
So better. Yeah.
I am feeling better, but I'm like, I was coughing so bad that I like wanted to, just bad stuff. Not good stuff. Anyway, so my point is I'm a little groggy and a little like, I'm not really sure what just happened. So I'm probably going to have to watch the recording again. But the one thing that stuck with me is, Connie, as you know, I'm working on creating a bingo card. And since it is February, I should have that done by now. I just in my own head, I wanted it to be a New Year's thing and I haven't finished it yet. And I think that's because I have this really big audacious goal for my membership growth. And I haven't broken that down into steps yet, which would be my goals. And I think I'm again shying away from certain things. So I just need to my next CEO day is the 7th. And so I will be working on that then.
And make a present. I'm not joking. Make a presentation to yourself.
Okay.
Because if you have your next CEO day and then you have to go present to the CEO, the 5 outcomes that you can control and the 3 success factors, I'm telling you, going through a 45-minute activity like that with you, yourself, and you is going to be invaluable. Okay.
I agree.
So I am going to, by Amanda, if you just put that in the comment section, I'm going to put again the link. If you want to dive into a 90-day roadmap for 90 minutes and do the Strengths Finder assessment, definitely put that in that space. Amanda, it's good to see you again. And then for the next Adulting Happy Hour, we will have a link for you to be able to get the Zoom. So for the rest of this year, I am going to move that into, yes, the Facebook events are still going to be live. The next one will be March 11th. So that's a Tuesday. We're going to stick with the PM time, Mountain Standard Time. So 6 to 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. The topic of the night will be client attraction. So that 20-minute jam session will be client attraction, but just know that there will be a little adaptation for the rest of the Adulting Happy Hours this year, that instead of me just putting the Zoom link out live, I will have a registration form for you to then get reminders and for you to be able to get that link. So I'm going to close out this training, close out the recording, and then I'm happy to stay on Customize, Catch Up. How does this work, Connie? Happy to do that. Make sure that you connect with anyone that you saw on tonight's call, and I hope that we see you next month. But I am going to end the recording there.